Hello everyone, my name is Eon-Seong. I'm a professor at Busan National University. Today I'd like to present my current paper. The title is International Logistics Capability of North Korea. Okay, let me start. Until now, research on North Korea's logistics industry has not received much attention due to the lack of available information and data. North Korea has unique circumstances in that it is a developing country with a communist ideology and very little openness and accessibility, making it difficult to research international management such as logistics. North Korea, which underwent economic reforms in the mid-2000s, experienced major changes in the maritime and port logistics sector at this time, including the expansion of economic cooperation with South Korea and the promotion of foreign trade with Northeast Asian countries. However, despite recent reforms and trade growth, North Korea has many limitations in terms of the international transport system and multimodal logistics that connect the sea and land. As such, it is important to understand the current status of North Korea's international logistics and shipping and port logistics systems, and to analyze the competitiveness of international logistics. In doing so, it will be possible to identify logistics problems in North Korea and discuss ways to improve them in the future. Until now, however, most studies have focused on the importance of establishing a system of economic cooperation between South Korea and North Korea, thereby neglecting North Korea's international logistics system and its competitiveness. On account of this gap in the research, this study aims to discuss the status of North Korea's international logistics system. Using secondary data collected from various sources, the current situation of North Korea's international logistics capability will be diagnosed in terms of transportation capability, external risks, information integration, logistics infrastructure, and national law and policy. Okay, let's see the previous studies regarding North Korea's logistics. First, Lee 2018 emphasizes the importance of modernizing Nampo and Haeju ports and developing unloading equipment and new ports for North Korean port development. He also stressed the importance of international logistics networks throughout the Eurasian continent and the West Sea. Another research is Hwang 2018. Hwang suggested 4 aspects of shipping market infrastructure: laws, institutions, policies, manpower development programs, labor market, and infrastructure as a way to build a foundation for maritime cooperation based on changes in inter-Korean relations. In addition, he considered it important to form a logistics network centered around the ports of Najin, Unsan, Haeju, and Siniju special zones, which are the major hubs of North Korea, as a direction of cooperation in the maritime port logistics sector. The Crue 2008 measured the hub dependence in the case of North Korea and analyzed the weight and geographical extent of its maritime connections. It showed the spatial shift from long-distance calls to feeder calls, global foreland contraction, regionalization within Northeast Asia, and traffic concentration in the hubs closest to South Korean ports. But Although many studies have provided meaningful results on the logistics situation in North Korea, as well as suggestions on how to build a logistics cooperation between the two Koreas. But few studies have systematically analyzed North Korea's international logistics competitiveness. Therefore, this study derives key factors for evaluating North Korea's international logistics competitiveness and systematically analyzes North Korea's international logistics competitiveness with respect to these indicators. In order to analyze North Korea's international logistics competitiveness, international logistics competitiveness evaluation indexes were derived, being based on the Yang and Chang 2019 study. The three factors include transportation capability and related infrastructure, external risks, national law and policy, and information integration. Using secondary data collected from various sources, the current situation of North Korea's international logistics capability will be diagnosed in terms of these factors. Okay, let's see the first factor, transportation capability and related infrastructure. We see this factor in terms of rail transportation, maritime transportation, and air transportation. First, rail transportation. In the system of transportation infrastructure in North Korea, roads and shipping are used as auxiliary means, mainly on railroads and railways. Although railroads are the central means of logistics, its rail and road infrastructure are very poor. In North Korea, passenger trains run at 30 to 35 km and freight trains with a lot of luggage run at 20 km. International trade transport primarily operates on these railroads. For example, as North Korea is bordered by its two major trading partners, China and Russia, trade cargo between these countries is transported by rail. Second, maritime transportation. Since the 1980s, in accordance with the policy of increasing foreign trade, the major trade ports have been expanded. However, compared to the size of the ports, unloading facilities are behind, resulting in delayed unloading operations. As there are no multi-purpose docks that can handle container cargo, the automation of unloading facilities is barely developed. In terms of port facility management, the lack of management of control functions, as well as the lack of transportation information, have resulted in severe backlogs of coal cargoes, such as coal and ores at several ports, including Nampo Port. Let's move to air transportation. North Korea's air transportation infrastructure is very poor in terms of both quantity and quality. In particular, North Korea's aviation demand is so low that it hinders the development of the airline industry. In addition, the management and operation of the entire aviation industry is monopolized by single civilian aviation station, and therefore, market economy principles are difficult to operate. Another important issue is the lack of aviation infrastructure. In conclusion, we can say that North Korea's transportation infrastructure are generally very poor and to be further developed a lot. The next factor is external risks, national law, and policy of North Korea. The overall risk factor for logistics is first a matter of passage, which means that foreign companies are not free to enter and exit North Korea for logistics activities. This is a problem for the entire state. At present, foreign companies, including those from China, have to obtain a permit for transportation and passage in North Korea. Second, customs clearance issues need to be improved, as currently complicated procedures are required to export products produced in North Korea. Various documents such as licensing procedures and proof of country of origin must be submitted as part of complex border crossing procedures. In addition, there are many political and diplomatic constraints on the construction of the maritime transport system, and thus, the rationality based on the pursuit of profit tends to be ignored. There are risks of shipping operations. For example, when a vessel is docked, a customs officer boards the vessel to inspect the ship using a tugboat, which is in fact usually an old ship. In the case of an emergency, there may be a delay because of the difficulty of securing a tugboat. Furthermore, there are many other risks associated with the ship operations. For example, in most countries, if repairs need to be made on a ship, they can be done quickly by a specialist. However, this is no such system in North Korea. The last factor is information integration. In international logistics management, the integration of logistics information systems and operating systems should be achieved. However, North Korea's information system is still insufficient. In particular, since North Korea remains a very closed country, transparent logistics information operations and systems are very poor. North Korea believes that easing or eliminating this is necessary for the establishment of an information system. In addition, it needs logistics-related companies to open a business network and promote the expansion of joint venture. In conclusion, this study analyzed the current status of North Korea's international logistics and shipping and port logistics systems and analyzed the international logistics competitiveness. Through this, it was possible to identify the logistical problems that North Korea faces. In particular, North Korea's international transportation capacity, related infrastructure construction, international logistics risk factors, and logistics information integration capacity were analyzed in depth. Until now, North Korea's logistics capacity has been expected to be vaguely poor, but this study classifies the specific factors for evaluating North Korea's international logistics capacity and systematically analyzes the existing literature on each factor, thus differentiating the study from existing research. Such attempts will allow North Korea to deepen its understanding of the problems it faces in terms of international logistics and shipping port system, and will encourage in-depth discussions on ways to solve these problems in the future. On the other hand, this study has some limitations that should be noted. For example, it used only qualitative secondary data and subjective analysis in data collection and analysis. Therefore, future studies ought to focus on conducting a more objective analysis through a questionnaire survey on North Korea's international logistics capabilities, as well as problems that companies who have used North Korean logistics services have faced. Okay, this is what I prepared for today's presentation. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.